Hey, oh, good morning, Alex.
Good
How
morning,
the heck are you
Chris.
doing, buddy?
I never know what to do. Like, do we yell yo? Like, what do we do with our hands? Like, how do you start a video? Like, yeah.
So it's all about the roar, right? And clearly, I support the chat. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Change my
Oh,
life.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
gather the family around the TV, enjoy was it Nakamiya Plaza, kind of all the fun stuff, and oh my gosh, absolutely.
Oh yeah. Gosh, yeah, and for those watching our like replay, all of this stuff was on before we got into this, right? Got-
Well, first and foremost, Chris, I do want to say thank you for inviting me on. I could never replace Kevin, so I hope that everyone recognizes I'm trying to honor him as much as possible with fabric swag and all of his cool hats that he always enjoys wearing. So, Kevin, we miss you, buddy. But enjoy your long weekend.
Well, I hope he is enjoying himself, and if he's watching, please do enjoy yourself. But Kevin, or Alex, we actually we are dropping some limited time merchandise specifically in support of you. So
Oh my gosh.
we've just launched our Power Query Everything t-shirt out there. So get them for a limited time only. These are available. Overpriced merchandise is something that people love to get for the holidays. I can guarantee you at this point in time that you will not get this delivered in time for the holidays. They take much longer to ship than that. But,
I'll just drive up. I'll pick one up from your house, Chris.
We do also have some new merch that is out there. Stop showing that one. We do also have our No Decks column shirts that are online. This is, we've got a whole line of hashtags supporting things.
Team No Dax columns, Chris. Count me in. I'm the number 2 president, whatever it could be, as early upstream as possible, as far downstream as necessary. I think with fabric, it only becomes even more amplified of like, get that column in with the original parquet file. Like, it all pays off in the end.
Yeah. I completely agree. And plus, it just makes sense for it to go up there. Please stop with it. So, as I said to you, I think this is a 5 to 10 year campaign, hopefully much shorter, to get buy-in universally that we need to stop this. And then it'll take 5 to 10 years to get pulled out of the service. So I'm looking at a good 10 to 20 years. But I want this before my career ends. I want to put a stake in the heart of the Dracula that is Dex columns.
Hey, retirement party would be a great one. We'll finally seen it to fruition here for you, Chris.
Awesome. All right. But thank you all for joining us today. We have some amazing topics. But before we jump into that, Alex, do you want to introduce yourself? I think most people know you, but maybe not.
Yeah. No, thanks. So Alex Powers, located in St. Louis, Missouri. So I absolutely love all of us here in the Midwest who are a little bit crazy, a little bit fun. Hopefully if you kind of hang out with Kratos, you'll very much enjoy kind of my topics and presentations as well. But working at Microsoft on the Fabric Cat team, been at Microsoft, I think, coming up on 5 years in June. So time is just like flying by. We've seen a Power BI rebranding with like the new logo. Now we've seen like an entire platform blow up here with like all the Fabric items. So just thinking about how much has changed. And gosh, even what, Chris, like the last 24 months?
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, it is radically shifting. And I kind of don't see an end to it, especially with the new integrations with Copilot and AI and just so many things out there. But what do you do at Microsoft right now? What's your role today?
Yeah, so currently focused on helping customers, especially with their enterprise adoption of Fabric, and more specifically focused on data integration. So a lot of data flow, Gen 2. I'm also starting to, I'm a man of education, learning myself, so I do want to promote Richard Swinbank's book here, Azure Data Factory by Example.
Donald, can we get a link on that one? we can't do Hey Alex when
I know. So I did a lot of pipeline development back in the day, but I was like, I want to refresh myself here, as we're starting to do fabric data pipelines. So many cool things in combination with data flows. I was talking with Patrick earlier this week. Patrick LeBlanc, for those who don't know, he is a colleague of mine on the Fabricat team. We were talking about like all the different ways that you can kind of productionalize data flows now, especially with pipelines. So doing crazy loops, building crazy incremental refresh patterns, like expect a lot of very cool content here very soon.
Hang on, did you say loops?
Yeah, looping through. Yeah.
Oh my, I can't wait to see.
And then kind of also a thing I've been doing about the past, it'll end up on the Wikipedia page one day, but we started working on kind of a NL to M kind of feature. And then the entire world just blew up with like this whole Chat GPT thing. And then everything from there was like, go build a Copilot, go build a Copilot. So we've been at this journey for probably about 18 months, but I'm excited to show a lot of people a lot of the cool stuff you can do with Copilot and data flows. And also like, where can we make it better? If you think about Power Query, it's hosted in 12 or so different applications now. So expect the same Copilot to be brought to all 12 of those. It's a journey, but today we can kind of talk about the crawl, walk, run phase. So,
well, that is fantastic. I can't wait to get into that because I've been playing with Copilot in notebooks. It was a live stream we just did. Now we're talking Copilot in Data Factory and Power Query.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
I haven't seen this yet. Are you able to share that at all with us?
Absolutely, Chris. Today is the day.
All right, that's it. You're hearing it first, live on this show.
If we weren't doing it live, then why are we even here, right?
Yeah.
Let's see the good and the bad. If you want to kick over to my screen, happy to kind of walk folks through. So first and foremost, I do want to point out kind of the admin tenant setting. I know, Chris, you did this on kind of the stream with Raj, but I think it's important for folks. You may see it here within your banner, kind of Azure OpenAI. If you don't, more than likely it's at the very bottom of the screen. So I'll just scroll down there. Copilot and Azure OpenAI service. This is being rolled out through March 2024. So expect, if you don't see it today, then, coming soon, ... Two different tenant settings, though, kind of calling these out. First one is that you can use Copilot and other features powered by Azure OpenAI. This does now support security groups. So if you do want to limit this to just like a select few individuals who maybe are doing like a POC or kind of a piloting of Fabric, you can have that setting. That was rolled out this week. And then another one is more around kind of compliance and governance boundaries. So especially like I'm over in Europe, I can't have data leaving Europe. If you don't want to have Azure OpenAI fall back to a different region, go ahead and disable that. But just two different tenant settings. I'd be very curious, Chris, are you starting to see this tenant setting show up either in your own personal tenant or maybe some other tenants you kind of work in?
So it's available in my personal tenant. It is available in 1/3 of the clients I'm currently working with.
Yep.
They have that enabled. It's funny, the ones who want it, it's not enabled. The ones who are very risk averse and turn it off have it. So like, okay. And for those people who are out there, the number one question I've had, and I've relayed that up the product team is like, hey, I'm in PPU or Pro. When am I going to see these things? And the answers are emphatic. Like, these processes are very expensive to run on Microsoft side. This is only going to be a premium capability at that F64 level or higher. Do not expect them anytime soon unless there's some insane change in how AI is managed for that to come to the lower space. So just, that's not you. Just be aware of that. But this is the cutting edge. And frankly, I think with everything Fabric is bringing to this space, you're talking about Fabric being able to provide all of your company's data platform needs and capabilities in the cloud. So saying that you're going to spend, $60,000 a year on your cloud data strategy is a very low threshold to get involved in this. I know not every company has that, but that is a very low threshold on spend in the cloud. So I think that's the right choice by my seat.
Yeah, I think you've seen a lot of the Power BI experiences too, Chris, where like they start out in premium and then eventually kind of get rolled down to kind of later stages. I don't have any visibility on the business impact there. So absolutely right now, paid SKUs of F64 P1 and above to kind of use this capability.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep. All right, let's head back over here.
Yeah, let's jump into kind of a Copilot for Data Factory. Awesome. We got some cool stuff, really cool stuff, and then really, really cool stuff here kind of at the very end. Let's go and take a look here at this first one. All right, and this is within Dataflow Gen 2. So the Copilot capability is not available for Gen 1, not currently coming to Gen 1 either in terms of planning. So definitely kind of look to Gen 2 as kind of the future here. A lot of different queries. I've got this amazing diagram view that I absolutely love kind of using in my development. Copilot up here within the Home tab. So if you click this, it should look very familiar to like all the other Copilots just on the right-hand side here of the editing experience. Couple different starter prompts here, either get data, kind of adding a step, or even describing this query. Select get data, launches you into the get data window. Again, I always love feedback here. Do you prefer like a UI-based navigation, or would you just be like, oh, go find the spreadsheet that I was in 20 minutes ago, and like having a data discovery, just having kind of being a capability of the Copilot? I'd love to learn from folks.
Yeah,
I think
that is something I would love to have.
Yeah,
if I was just in an Excel spreadsheet, or if I was just connected to something, 100 like a SharePoint list or whatever it is that I was using, and you could see in your last files like on M365, that would be fantastic, right?
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of thinking as well. Just hearing a lot of different feedback of like, if Copilot could do data discovery of like, hey, go find me the finance spreadsheet that mentioned, X revenue on 2023 Q1. Like if it had that skill to like go out and find that stuff, like, oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. So I love, Chris, that you'd kind of also given that a thumbs up in the prioritization. All right, so let me take a look here. I've got a couple different queries, and then a few here that do have at least a few different steps. Where's a good one? Awesome.
Yeah, I've got a question for you, Alex.
Go ahead.
And this is outside of this, but I have in the past struggled, even Gen 1, Gen 2, when you have one data flow that does many different loads. And by breaking up one flow per load, that eliminated like all of my issues. And I've seen that on oh my God, what the hell is it called? Dataflow Gen 2.
There you go. It's the suffix.
Literally, just talking about. That really helped me there too. Is there a best practice around that?
Yeah. So a couple different things I would recommend, at least for right now with Dataflow Gen 2. You do only get up to 50 queries within an authoring. So if we were to take this, keep adding these back and forth. At a certain point, Chris, you're going to hit a ceiling here, at least within the authoring, where it's like, hey, way too many queries are being added. Scale this thing back, break it up. Let's see. I think we're getting close. There's got to be 50 coming in on this next one, right? All right, we're at 30. Come on, yell at me. There we go. There are more queries in this data flow than the allowed limit of 50. Publishing will fail. Okay. All right, so I have this ceiling. I'm probably not going to try and load every query from every source that I ever have into a single data flow. My guidance here would be get these small tables out of the way as quickly as possible in their own isolated data flow. That way, if you had 10 small queries, let's say 100 rows, about 10,000, et cetera, like the dim table examples, those are their own data flow.
Mhm.
If you have a very large fact table that's going to take multiple hours, break that off into its own thing. So absolutely what you're doing in the past, Chris, I would still recommend doing here with Gen 2.
Okay, cool.
All right, now I got to find my way back through.
Sorry. While you're
it's
doing
good.
that, I'm going to answer a question by Enterprise AR.
Yeah.
He's asking if we're paying for premium already, is this all fabric SKUs or is government military SKUs still waiting? So while you find your place, I'm going to answer this. This is for F-64 and higher, or P1 or higher, and it is slowly being rolled out. Should be out by May. I know government military is typically 6 months after everything gets out. Alex, do you have any further knowledge on that side?
No, I don't have timelines there, and I assume that this is probably for US Gov High, or GCC, or DoD. Like, which cloud are you in? Let me know.
Okay.
Cool. So I'm going to run back to dim employee just because we do have a couple different steps here. I'm going to ask it to describe this query. Fingers crossed. Get out of here. Get out of here, grammar. Awesome. So a couple different things. Oh, fantastic. All right. I'm going to zoom in here, Chris. Hopefully it shows in the screen. It might not. All right. It doesn't. It's fine.
Okay.
All right. Oof. I'll zoom out then, so that way we're all seeing the same thing. So in this example, just an explanation of what the actual query and kind of the underlying script is doing. So if we're to go into like query script, like here's the entire thing, just explain this crazy code to me. So in this way, any inexperienced user could just drop in and figure out, oh, these are the transformations that were done. Here's the steps that maybe were applied. Currently, is this helpful for you, Chris? Like step level, query level descriptions. If I was to take like this query loads employee data. If I was to say, wouldn't it be great if we just loaded this directly into this query loads employee?
Yes, I would love if this automatically went into the description of each of the tables so that we would know, so we could just look at this at the data flow, but also at the semantic model layer, have this come through, because I would hope that one day we could further evolve it to actually give like business logic and business definitions along with it. So this is fantastic, I think.
No, I agree. Like column level descriptions and things like that would be amazing to have it traverse through like an entire kind of BI and semantic model. All right, so we've got high level, query level descriptions here. You know, I would say let's get those over into a query's description. Step level descriptors here, combine the first name, middle name, and last name column into a new column called full name. That's what the merge column step does. If we looked at this, we have the text.combine if equals blah, blah, blah. A lot more human readable, if you were to ask me over here. So currently, you know, here's descriptions. What I would love to see here is at the very bottom, we'll just add to descriptions. So you've read through these, you're like, hey, these are pretty good. I want to go ahead and commit those. At that stage, I would expect that we would go through and be patient with me, everyone. There we go. Add descriptions. I think someone had asked in the chat here.
Yeah. There were several questions. Could this be added as part of the documentation? But
absolutely.
Today it's a copy paste. Tomorrow it could be just automatically added. Is that right?
So a lot of the things that I would love to learn from folks is like, what is meaningful documentation to you? Because the thing that I wouldn't want to do is like commit all of this and you'd be like, oh, that again? Like these descriptions never make any sense. I have to go through it to clean them up. Like I don't want to commit descriptors into your code if you're like, that doesn't make any sense at all. So again, like from this list, are these type of descriptions helpful? Well, it's not bad. It's better than what I'm doing now. Like I only maybe describe like the one or two very complex lines, but I'd love to hear from others.
Yeah, and I think actually, we'll start with Fernando. We'll come back to Christina. He's saying, can you save that as part of the documentation?
That's what we'd
I
love
think
to
what
do.
you're
Yeah.
saying is, yeah, you want to do that in code. But I think Christina is going on. She's saying, what a game changer. I always train people to always add descriptions. Does it also use existing descriptions? It'd be nice to see a bullet point list instead of highlighting over each step. So could we do that at the object level? Have this entire thing there? That I would really like. I think that makes great sense.
Yeah. So there's a couple different ideas here too, maybe kind of within that. So in this example, like I'm hovering above the step, we have our add descriptions over here, where any description text that you've made. Let me go ahead and do this for the change columns. Here's an update to my text. Let me go ahead and commit that. Here's an update to my text. There we go. What if we didn't even generate documentation for you? It was just available on hover. Because generating documentation is static, Chris. As soon as you change, as soon as you make something updated, like that's already out of date. What if just on hover, it reads through your script and then generates the description on the fly?
Yeah, I would like that better.
Yeah.
Then I would leave this for like the manual notes that I've like, hey, the reason we did this is this.
Yep.
So coach people on that, but then have this automatically generate as to what it's actually doing. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. And then I absolutely love the Copilot pane. As a power user myself, Chris, like I may be more inclined to like UI, where I would almost ask for like, instead of delete or delete until end, I would like it describe or describe until end. So that way, at any point in time, I could manually kick off that description and have it commit to the documentation.
Yeah. Hey, Sergio has a great item.
Yeah.
One key or a comment. He's saying one key error proofing would be to alert of undesired row count growth when merging or joining. This is one of the most frequent errors that happen, especially if you're an assistant and not an expert developer. I think that makes a ton of sense. Right? If you have a dimension that is it's a dimension, right? And then you merge something in, and then you break that cardinality where you start to duplicate that dimensional value because you're merging something in. I think that's a great thing to see in here. Maybe
and then I'm gonna point out this new thing here too. Merge queries is new, so I'm just doing dim product. It could be the merge queries dialog too, but subcategory raw. Top right corner, Chris. What do you see?
Yeah, what is that insight?
What is?
Oh my gosh, what is that?
Column schema detection of do I have matching columns?
Oh.
So this is why I love Sergio's question of like, hey, I actually want you to do a little bit more. So in this example, like it's going through and it's saying, do I have exact or maybe do I have an approximate column title matching? So product subcategory key. That sounds like a slam dunk. Product raw has product key to product category key. Nah, that ain't it. Right there automatically does it for us. We don't have to do the long scrolling anymore, Chris, to like find the right column in the right area. AI.
Wow.
So to go to like Sergio's point there of like, I guess at this point it would also be like incorporating some data quality to the merging. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah. Yes. Some data quality, some data checking to like alert when something isn't right, or you've created a duplication or something. That'd be fantastic too, right?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I love hearing that. Everyone applied Contoso. They have the cleanest data, if you couldn't tell. Their rows always match. So some of the Copilot, some of the just native, like that's now part of the product here, kind of with those AI indicator light bulbs. I do want to go back. Maybe let's kind of do some transformations here. I'm going to put in like a very vague input. I'm going to just say keep married employees. and add that. I don't know these words, filter, select rows. I'm an inexperienced user, Chris, dropping into a Power Query for the first time.
Right. Oh my gosh. Has this worked for you in the past?
Always.
Wow. Did it apply already? It applied already. You didn't have to click on anything.
No.
Holy crap.
Marital status equals M. So if we go back to our previous, let me kind of make this a little bit bigger. There we go. I'll zoom in.
Did you just become a Power BI desktop hater?
Say that again, Chris.
Did you just become a Power BI desktop hater?
Oh no, I love the desktop. Keep an eye out too. Like good days are coming. Good days are coming. So marital status, I didn't say use marital column. I just said married. We have these two different values, M and S. So I have to assume M equals married, S equals single. It applied it. Like it got it right, even with my vague input.
Wow.
If I was to say split the split employee emails, let's try this. Employee emails by username and domain address. I'm not telling it to delimiter. I'm not telling it anything else. I'll be very curious here if it can get this for us. And then these are the basic examples, Chris. So please, we're going to scale this thing very quickly. Awesome. It recognized both my column name, so username and domain address. It's split by that delimiter with kind of the @ symbol. So again, if we were to hover above, we can kind of see that script that was generated.
Oh my gosh.
Not using Power Query terms, not using a UI that I may be unfamiliar with. I start seeing icons. Oh, split column. Next time I come into Power Query, I may not need the Copilot because I've learned my way around. I see the icon, I see the title. Maybe I search for it too. Split. Oh my goodness, how is that not up there? That's too funny. Maybe I can only select one column. There we go. Maybe that's a funny one. Yeah, there they are. Whew. By delimiter. I was getting worried. I was like, what did we break? If I like it, I keep it. If I don't, hey, undo right here on the card. You could go to the applied steps list, press X. Ideally, it was just helping people ease their way into Power Query who may not be familiar.
Oh my gosh. I mean, this is the exact process that I'm using on the learning Python right now. Is I'm doing exactly this, and now I'm learning magic words. I've started to create a little cheat sheet I use around different commands I like in Python, and I've not had to crack a book or read a website. I'm just in Copilot. And Copilot will do this right here too. This is awesome.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Let's get into some very cool stuff here. So we were the cool one right now. Let me go and exit this. Really cool stuff. We're going to start chaining commands together. Oh my gosh. All right. So this is a good one too. A long pagination here. Describe my query. I don't know anything about this, Chris. Describe it. I found some amazing code from a lot of our community contributors like Ken Pulls, MK Feldman, Ben Gribaldo, all these insane Power Query M rock stars who just drop their code for us online and say, use this. In this example, here's a web request with pagination. I don't know anything about it, but I had it described. I have a better sense of, this thing is the part that does the pagination. All of this, though, just simple out of the box description.
Wow.
Commit this to my code. We're working on it. Don't worry. I'm going to create a new data flow just because I must have deleted my previous one. So I'm going to do data flow gen 2. Mm-hmm. And then I want to show just at the very beginning here, there is no magic. We need to have data within the preview window. So we need to understand your schema. We need to understand the shape of your data. That way we can kind of apply those transformations. So on first drop, just get data. This will launch us into the window here. One of my good buddy, Aaron, he would say, don't ever search for your connection, just paste it.
Right.
If I paste it, automatically takes me there. And it injects it into the URL. I was like, I didn't know that trick, but I'll pass it along. So we're connected out to Northwind, just kind of an OData feed here. Let's get a few related tables. Awesome. Let's bring these in. And I'm going to try this one. So count the total number of customers by state and keep the top 3 results. Let's try that. What would you expect this to generate, Chris?
The top 3, right?
What UI actions would you maybe use?
Oh, a filter context, right? Oh, no, I'd have to do a merge, and then I'd have to do a sort, and then I'd have to do a filter, right?
Yeah, so in this example, let's go ahead and take a look here. So we have our group by. So we used the group by operation. And then we also had a sort. So that sort by descending. And then keeping only the first top 3. This does currently result in a kind of a subquery. And just the very near term here, we'll be unrolling these to just have them within the UI. But let me go ahead and update this real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
Awesome. Cool. One input generated a group by, sort, and a top 3.
Wow.
So in a traditional sense, right? Like, let's go ahead and duplicate this. Let's remove this and delete until end. If we were to do this traditionally, it would be, let's go to transform, group by, select all of our things, then do our sort, and then do our top filter. Multiple clicks, multiple field value wells, 3 things though done in a single prompt.
Wow.
So create a new query that is a calendar table starting on 2017. It goes to current date and include lots of columns to slice and dice my data with. Vague Copilot, use your imagination with my lots of columns. I want it to create a calendar table for me.
You just ask it to? Wait, where?
Right here. It's done. So it created a new calendar for me that's dynamic. So starting from this date, going to my current date, and any subsequent refresh, it'll have that incorporated. It did over 20 steps for me in a single input. So I could have done this by hand. This probably would have taken me like the full hour, right?
Right. I mean, and Fernando, I think, is spot on. He said, "Are we going to forget how to code in M in the future due to all this?"
Absolutely not. And I say this in like the way that I'm an experienced user, and doing these type of things, I'm always like, oh, wow, I actually love the UI even more. But it's finding the ways that the things that are very complex and tedious, I can just offload to Copilot. Like, how do I augment my development experience? For new users, though, Chris, like, I actually love these examples of just like doing a simple thing,
right?
And them being successful. If it is just like, I don't know the term group by.
Yeah.
And they were able to still achieve their final goal. Oh my goodness, like that's the utopia. New users getting started, I think Copilot is a great way to ease into it. Hopefully through like visual and title kind of recognition over time, they kind of find their way around the UI.
Right.
And then at the very end, it's like for a experienced user or a power user, do the crazy stuff that takes forever. Either in this example, like we chain 3 different things, or in the complete a new query altogether, like 20 steps all at once.
Holy cow! Is this? I mean, frankly, it's almost unbelievable that it's able to do all this stuff.
It's magic, man. It's power query.
Yeah, and you're seeing this live here. Never before seen before. This is incredible.
Yeah. So
Hey,
amazing.
there's a what's
Yeah,
that?
good.
I was going to say there's a question in the queue from oh my gosh, Pickus. There's a lot of buzz about delta tables and time travel. How can we do that in Dataflow? Can any good resources on that?
Yeah, if you don't mind, someone from the moderation team, Chris Webb just put out a new blog on a delta table. If you could go get that from, it should be on the Fabric official blog. And that will talk to you about the delta table connector that was recently improved, where you can kind of do time travel kind of here within Power Query. Yeah, that's a good one, though.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Oh, that was just released last week?
Yeah, if not last week, then definitely this week.
The 4th.
All right, so let me try something else here, Chris. You love YouTube, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
All right. So I'm going to try this input. Create a new query that is a function calling the YouTube API to fetch all the videos for a channel as a JSON payload that includes an API key and a channel ID as parameters. Calling REST APIs.
No.
So I know some people are always like, man, calling APIs in Power Query, that can really be a tedious task. Hey, right here. I did it for you.
What the flip? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So you can imagine like I want to call like open weather. I'll kind of use this one as another good example. Open weather maps, current weather data API with 2 parameters, key and city. I might be able to pass this one through. Again, like all this stuff is documented on the web. This is just something that's built in through the Azure OpenAI of like has this immense knowledge base. Maybe you're researching a REST API out on a website. You're saying, all right, I've kind of got an idea of what it is, what the title is. Come over here, ask Copilot to just build it for you. And it will generate that Power Query.
Wow. Wow. This is fantastic.
I know. But hold on.
I'm at a loss for words.
So create a new query that is the United States, that is each state. And please, people, start asking for queries that you'd like us to submit. I would love to test and play around with things.
Well, okay, go ahead.
It's abbreviation in the FIPS state code. All right. Create a new query that is each state from the USA. It's abbreviation in kind of FIPS state code. Asking it to go out into this crazy world of information, build me a table, and then return it back with all this information. So traditionally, I would have to leave my Power Query authoring experience. I'd have to go find a web page, hope that it's in the correct HTML format, and then from there, click Get Data, Web, kind of bring it all back in. Chris, right there.
Oh my gosh.
Generate the table for us.
Okay. How about this? Can you create a table of zip codes with location and demographic information about the zip code?
What? For which cities?
In the U.S.
For all of the U.S.?
For all of the U.S.
Let me try with zip codes and location before we do demographic information.
All right. That's fine. Yes. Yeah. Let's keep it simple first. Sorry.
Yep.
Reaching for the sun here, those wings will melt right off.
Yeah, and Fernando, absolutely. It didn't use a website in this example. It built out kind of a record set here of all the different rows, and then it combined those into kind of a table.
Oh, because it just knew it.
Yeah, I mean, so things like this where it's very static, right? Like we haven't added a new state. Yeah, awesome, Chris. So you actually got it to hallucinate, thinking that there was a table within our data set that was called zip code data. So I love that.
Okay.
Hey, hallucinations happen. This is a great example of it. Of like, it didn't work. We can delete it here. We can press undo. Boom. Let's get out of our authoring state. There we go. No harm.
All right, and here, Enterprise. This is the thing I was going to do later, but I guess I don't even have access to it yet because it's up there. Can you connect to the Kratos BI YouTube channel and get a list of videos, descriptions, and
absolutely, absolutely. Just hear from this generated kind of power query. I was doing this with my channel information. I think I deleted the secret, so I would have to go out and do a couple different things. But happy to share this code and kind of share the inputs as well for a bunch of folks.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
So create a new query that lists all the Taylor Swift albums and their producers and year of release. There we go. Let's try this one. If I can spell Swift correctly, Swift albums. I clicked this stuff. All right, I'll fix it.
Still working on it.
No, I blame the editor. All right. Fingers crossed. Come on, Taylor Swift. I know you're out there today. I must have typed something wrong. New query with sample data that talks. I'm gonna try this one last one. Create a new query with sample data that writes a song about the 12 days of data integration.
Oh my gosh.
It was working the other day. I'll be curious what it comes back with. And it was a funny one too.
And for those of you, I Alex clearly.
Look at that. A lot. Power query now. Day one. I didn't even tell it power query. I just already knew it was the
best. That's fantastic.
I love it.
But I think you're calling out a great point. Like these open AI models, you can ask it the same question over and over again, and often it will give you different responses. And there's nothing broke, just it's constantly evolving and learning, and it thinks of new things, right?
Yeah. So this is where like it's very helpful for us to like, what are the common patterns that you think would be most beneficial for either yourself, kind of your colleagues, or even if you were kind of doing training a lot? Like, what are those common questions that you often see? How can we best incorporate those into like the Copilot's knowledge base of like, I love hanging out with my mom on Thursdays. We often like work on some tech problems, if she's dealing with a spreadsheet or something. So I'm always like, can I get my mom to use the Copilot for Power Query and be successful? Like that is my ultimate litmus test, right? Yeah. I want anyone from any background with any experience to be able to drop in, clean up their data, and get it on to the next task. Because I always know that data integration is in service of something else, right? Like it's in service of business intelligence. It could be data munging in the sense of like, I need to move this on to the next system to kind of help with some processing. Like, how do I make sure that you're productive over here or as productive as possible? I love this chaining concept of being able to chain multiple inputs together as opposed to like clicking through UI. So as a power user, Chris, like, how do I start thinking about Copilot to augment and accelerate the tasks that are very tedious for me? Calendar table is a great example, right? 20 inputs, single line. Like, yeah, that would have taken us an hour to build.
Right. I like this one that came up. Can Copilot do data profiling for the data that's loaded?
Not currently, but we hear that a lot. So I'd love to kind of hear from you if you want to expand on that a little bit more of like what questions or what things would you kind of be looking for? Is it like row counts? Is it tell me number of null values? Would love to kind of hear from you.
Yeah. That and more. I'd also then like to also say, can you please cleanse this data? And then have it do like, okay, pick one, move everything to uppercase or camel case or whatever the heck it is, right? And maybe I can define that and how to address nulls, and, how to address special characters.
Let's see if I can get this input to be working here. Update my column headers to include spaces to make them more readable.
Get the French toast.
Fingers crossed. I don't know what it may or may not do. I've done this quite a few times in the past, and I may have to give it a little bit more instructions, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, Pictus says row counts, data types per column, general profiling, and then allow for like making it more specific. Did it do it?
I don't think it did anything.
No.
It got one of them, year, month, week, day. Let me try. If you right click the green text, this is actually a cool, neat little trick. You can do copy. You can kind of bring that right back down. Update all my column headers, make them more readable wherever a lowercase letter meets an uppercase letter. I hit enter. I don't know what's going to happen, Chris. My hands are up.
So I one thing I've noticed in working with LLMs is that if you say please, you get better results.
I love it.
Any idea why? Is that, have you seen that yourself?
Let's try it. Ironically, like I actually type please whenever I'm doing it through like the Bing GPT, and I'm always like, I just hope the robot remembers me at the very end, right? I was so next to it. I said please all the time.
When you become my overlord, remember that I was nice to you.
Too funny. All right. Well, fingers crossed with the please.
Slightly larger cage.
Yeah, and it wrote some wacky M here. So this probably be a good reason to be like, hey, take some of my examples out of my GitHub and kind of leverage that.
Yeah.
But
also a good point to like make sure that you review whatever it's generating, that it's doing what you've asked it to do, right? Like, oh yeah, it created 47 steps. Like, are all 47 of them what you want? Does it do something bad in there? And if so, then eliminate that, right?
Yeah, and kind of in this example, like I fully expect it to get that one right. Update all my column headers to be lowercase. It updated every single column header to be lowercase. Tedious task, right. Like renaming headers. Yeah. Like you have to go in and do this one by one. Like, hey, I'm gonna get this other one fixed, but if you have a table with a lot of underscores and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got this 200 column wide table. It's coming straight from the database with every underscore in it. And I want to make it more human readable. Replace all the underscores in my column headers with a space. Like
column from example on steroids, right?
Exactly. Like, oh my goodness. Like these are the tedious tasks where I'm like, Copilot can do it way better than I can. So it's like finding that balance.
I gotta warn you, Enterprise AR. He says, try adding "Tell me now" and see what happens. Have you seen that the ChatGPT is apparently getting lazy?
I think it was the GPT-4 that they kind of rolled out was having some interesting responses. I haven't been following it too close just yet, but
you can do this. All you have to do is write out. It's giving instructions to people now that they can do it. Like, that's awesome.
Hey, Chris. So I'm coming back to this example here now. Some really cool stuff. You talked about your learning Python currently, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. You're a Pythonista. You land in Power Query and you say, I don't know any of these buttons. I have no idea what they mean. I have this block of code. Just translate it. Translate it to this crazy formula language here that you have. So convert the following Python to M. So I've got this df.groupBy, I've got this size, I've got this sort values by count, and kind of an ascending false. Passing this in, I want it to translate my Python into Power Query M.
What? This won't work, will it?
Why not?
I don't. Oh my gosh.
So I've got my query script. Let me go ahead and clean this up. I'm going to unravel this here real quick again. Like I said, we'll be improving that here very shortly in the new year. So it added that group by step for us. So that df group by, it was able to translate that based on the size of city and state. So it figured out those two different columns here. It then did the row count here for us. So by the size of them, and then also sorting here at the very end in descending order. So ascending equals false. Able to be translated.
Wow. Wow, that is okay. Can you go the other way? Can I go from Power Query to Python?
I'd be very curious. In the notebook?
Yeah.
You want me to try it?
Yes, let's try it.
Let's try it. All right.
I don't know. Like, we don't know if this works, right? Like, so
Yeah.
the answer could be no, right?
My buddy Raj, he did awesome work, and now it's on us to test it, right? So let's go and take a look at the notebook. But I'm gonna talk back through at least that previous example. If you were maybe on like a project that was having to migrate some of the solution into like a Fabric, hey, you have existing code blocks, paste them in over here, see if it can be translated. If the project's intention is to make it more accessible to like a UI based kind of tooling. Cool. So we've got our copilots. Translate the following. Oh my goodness. There might have to be a couple things. What is the first one? Run this cell.
You have to kick off that cell first.
I learned that the other day.
And you have to be attached to the lakehouse.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically you can run it without it, but it won't. You'll have problems without a lakehouse.
All right. I'll attach this one real quick.
Oh, yeah. Stop now. Or I guess you can wait.
I'll cancel it. All right. We'll run it again. Yeah, Raj is awesome. I like working with him a lot.
Yeah.
Fun guy too. Will Copilot help with things like parameterization? Absolutely, Andy. So in our previous examples, we created some functions. It was able to kind of identify those arguments and parameters. Keep me honest here. Are you looking for Copilot to create parameters for you? Kind of like the home, new parameters. Let me know, because that would be something we would love to kind of prioritize as well.
Well, even if it like, maybe it'd be great if it recommended parameters. Like you should be considering parameterizing your sources or consider these parameters, right? Yeah.
And crawl, walk, run, right, Chris? Like we talked about that at the very beginning. Like the things that we're currently doing is a lot of the code-based execution. Things that I would like to take it to is like refactor my code. Like, hey, here are the best practices for Power Query. Limit rows, limit columns. Like put all that stuff up front. Like if it can refactor your solution and make it more optimal, those are the things I would love to do with it.
Right. Well, and that's the question that Jason Campbell said. Are Copilot generated queries optimized to play well with foldable sources?
I don't know that we've gone to that level of testing, but my comment here is we're always looking for the top one result. So I don't want to position code in front of you that isn't the most accurate possible. So like I don't want to give you like the sixth best version of a thing. At that point, I would just say, hey, I'm sorry, please add more details. But from what I've found, like it often does a pretty good job of ensuring that things are in the correct order But your feedback will tell me different.
Holy cow. And here, this is a question. Copilot will be great to help optimize queries. Maybe a query can be expensive and it can prove it.
That's what I want to. That's where I want to get to. Absolutely.
Or
refactor my code. Yeah.
How about on the management side? These are the queries that are most expensive inside your capacity. Here is the rewritten version of that.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah. And I have to believe, like, as more copilots like continue to start talking to each other, like a capacity based, where it says, "Hey, I'm recognizing this spike. It came from this thing. I investigated this thing, and here are some suggestions." At the end of the day, again, these are just suggestions. It's on you to validate and verify, like, is this code accurate? Is this thing that I'm actually trying to attempt the solution that I want? So press the input, get the output, trust but verify. Chris,
Right.
translate the following Power Query M to Python. I don't know what happened.
Here we go.
Let's see.
Another Kratos BI first.
And it did something weird with our two different steps here, putting them in kind of a markdown block. All right, this is fun. This is a fun one. This would be cool if it does.
Let's see. It's working on it.
I can feel Nelly and Raj yelling at me from the distance. Like, what are you doing? Are you trying to break our stuff? All right, it actually did. So let's copy this. This is PD. Yep. Navigation group by. It's kind of funny that I actually use the step identifiers.
Yeah.
And reuse those over here. All right. I don't know what will or won't break, so let's give it a shot, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Oh.
Self.create connection. It's all right. It's all right. Something was in here. And then I saw something on the kind of the Tales from the Field the other day where they had like fix my error. If anyone remembers what that is, let me know what that code syntax is. But you can ask fix. There it is.
Did you fix it?
Fix. It's this magic command.
What the heck?
Is it fix code? Is that what it is? Click run and then fix code.
Who said that? Where are you getting that? Is that in there? Fix code fixes the code that you write? Python makes me so nauseous every time.
I'm kind of curious. Let me know what the command is.
Okay.
Yeah, this one finds it. And then facetious, I think you had dropped it in there. I don't know if that one's accurate or not, but
Okay.
So hey, without knowing the correct pandas to write in this particular example, Chris, I would be like, I think you did a pretty good job converting Power Query into Python.
Yeah.
The part that I'd be very curious about is like, because we've talked about this in the past, right? Of like upscaling like your solution of, hey, you started out in Power Query, now you want to kind of productionalize it at higher levels, maybe translate it into PySpark and other things. This is very interesting to me. Start out in Power Query. Hey, you've done it for a while. You now want to turn it into a notebook and actual code. Copilot could be a pretty awesome assistant for that.
Yeah. I am really enjoying it. And, we kind of did that and we ran into a few like hiccups, but like you can then ask Copilot to like, how do you address these issues? And Copilot will like start to help you work through them, right? And there might be, maybe there's 3 issues that you have to work through in the code. But you can work through it and it'll generate the code and you don't have to like necessarily like figure it out yourself. Like that's awesome. All right. And so apparently it's %% fix _ errors, I guess.
No, and it's like it's still not working for us.
All right. Well, we are nearly at the end of our live stream. In fact, we're starting to run over. Alex, I know there's lots of things that you probably want or could use help with. I'm going to guess that you would really like it if people would head over to ideas.fabric.microsoft.com. Submit any ideas that you want on this side. Anything else people can do to help you?
Yeah, especially if you're starting to play around with Copilot and kind of the data factory experience now. That's something that I'm helping drive with the data integration team. So I would love to hear your feedback in the sense of like, here's what I tried, here's what I liked, here are the things that didn't work for me. So I know we heard kind of data quality today. I continue to hear that, so that tells me it's a very strong signal, something we should kind of focus on. What are the other areas that we don't know that you're like, oh, this is what I would probably try and find a lot of value in? Things that I would enjoy, Chris, I would like to do multi-query operations. So for me to be like, go to each one of my queries and cast change types, to have it do that automatically for 20 different queries in a single input, like, oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Where can we take this? Where should we take this? I heard a strong sense of like refactor my code, optimize my code. That's what I would say too. So I'd love hearing it from the audience. Connect with me on LinkedIn, connect with me on Twitter, shoot me a note. I'd love to jump on a call with you if that's possible, and just kind of learn from you as you start kind of exploring the copilots.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Alex, for joining. And thank you all for connecting. Remember, get your limited time Power Query Everything t-shirt that is available right now for sale. It is overpriced, and it is very little proceeds go to help the channel. It all goes to help some other big place. But show your support for Power Query Everything, and then don't forget also the No DAX Columns t-shirt. Help join the growing movement to eliminate DAX columns. We'll get that done in our lifetime. So thank you guys all very much. Have a good day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Baker Tilly Digital combines strategic industry insight and advanced technical expertise to uncover and solve your digital transformation challenges. If you're interested in learning more, check out our website at bakertilly.com/digital.